Starting your day off with a take on Vegas you won't get anywhere else.
Hi, I'm Holly Madison, and I listen to Brian Shapiro.
Hi, this is William Shatner, and I listen to Brian Shapiro.
Hey, this is Larry the Cable Guy, and I listen to Brian Shapiro. Why? Because I'm a good American. So is he. And if you don't listen to him, you need to pack up and leave this country.
This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
Come on, guys!
What's up, everybody? It's Vegas Take Time. It's your boy Shapiro back at you. Sharp and Shapiro. Yeah, last I checked, something happened in Washington today. I don't know. I think we'll talk about it. We'll get to that. Glad you could join us. Oh, a couple days ago, we also talked about, remember this guy who bet on Tiger Woods, and I said, boy, something's not adding up with this story. Well, it turns out this guy's been in and out of jail about 30 times. We'll talk about that. What does that mean? Well, he's a proven liar. Just like our president, by the way. We'll get to that. Chris Winn joining us in studio as well on this very busy political news day. You won't find a bigger news day of the year than this one. Maybe the 2020 election night. That's about it. Chris, thanks for joining us. How are you?
I'm doing great as we get set to roll on the weekend. I'm sure there's no shortage of banter that's going to be going back and forth from a political perspective after what has gone down, not just today, but basically in the past 72 hours.
Yeah. JD, did you hear the news today? I shot a 74 on the golf course. No, that wasn't the news, though.
That wasn't the big news?
You shot a 74?
I did. I played well today.
Isn't that bad for you?
Well, 2 over par. No, I played pretty good.
Okay.
A new putter. But there's some bigger news to talk about. That is the Mueller Report that was released to the public. Barr having a press conference. We talked about that yesterday, 90 minutes before the report made public. I think that shows you which side he's on. But let me speak about this for a few minutes. And, of course, we're going to take some phone calls. You won't find a more interactive show than the Vegas Take. Now, if you watch MSNBC, I'm going to try to be fair about this. If you watch MSNBC, they'll make it out that Donald Trump is going to be getting the electric chair. If you watch Fox News, they're making it out that he's completely exonerated on everything, and this is a done deal. Both are wrong. Both sides are wrong. Let's try to make this right. Let's start with the good news. The good news is what we already do, right? There's no Russian collusion. There was no evidence, or at least not enough evidence to say that he colluded with Russia, with Trump or members of his administration. That did not happen, and that is the good news for Trump, and it's the good news for the country, quite frankly. But I do think there's a lot more negatives to this report than positives, and I'm going to go over just a few of the highlights. First of all, tell me if this sounds like an innocent person. According to notes, Sessions told the president that a special counsel had been appointed. The president then slumped back in his chair and said, "Oh, my God, this is terrible. This is the end of my presidency. I'm effed." Put that expletive word in there. I can't say that because the FCC won't like it very much. Now, why would he say that? Well, one could allude to the fact that he's saying that because he thought he was effed, because he made some mistakes and he lied and he probably did a lot of things that he shouldn't have done. And by the way, just because there wasn't collusion doesn't mean that there wasn't behavior that was inappropriate or wrong. Like the meeting with Don Jr., okay? Really dumb. Shouldn't have happened. Does it mean there was collusion? No, but you can still do things that are completely inappropriate. Doesn't have to be collusion. But that's, I wanted to share that reaction. Now, I've talked a lot about Sarah Huckabee Sanders. We all have, right? I just think she's the liar, for the president, right? Well, now we've learned that, yes, she does lie. What a shocker. She admitted to lying about the Comey firing. The report released today revealed that the White House press secretary admitted to lying following Comey's firing. This is back in May 2017. The White House briefing Sanders said the White House had heard from countless FBI agents who said they had lost confidence in Comey. Do we remember this? Well, those claims were questioned immediately, but Sanders confirmed she had personally heard from FBI agents disappointed in Comey. And in interviews with investigators, Sanders acknowledged that her comments were not founded on anything. Let me repeat that again. Not founded on anything. In other words, she just made stuff up, like I think she does on a regular basis, and she lied. We know that for sure. That is in the report, and she admitted it. The report also found that back in 2017, the president tried on at least 3 occasions to block the release of emails related to the Trump Tower meeting, which we were just talking about. The report also revealed for the first time that Ivanka Trump was aware of the meeting, which was attended by her brother, husband Jared Kushner, and Trump campaign chair Paul Manafort at the time. Those are really important details. There are multiple instances in the report of Trump ordering members, and this is where we go to obstruction, multiple members of his administration taking action that would interfere with the probe. Trump asking for members of his administration to take action, and that's interference, potentially committing obstruction, and those aides ignoring him. Now, the incidents, according to Mueller, were often carried out through one-on-one meetings in which the president sought to use his official power outside of usual channels. These actions ranged from efforts to remove the special counsel and to reverse the effect of Attorney General's recusal, to the attempted use of official power to limit the scope of the investigation, to direct and indirect contacts with witnesses with the potential to influence their testimony. Viewing the acts collectively can help to illuminate their significance. In all, Mueller and his team cited 10 episodes at least of this for potential obstruction, but did not file charges. Basically, in a nutshell, in layman's terms, it's now set forth for Congress. Mueller said it to Congress and said, you guys deal with it. If you guys want to proceed with obstruction, you can do that. Now, those are just a few. Look, this was over a 400-page report. Those are just a few highlights of the report. It makes Trump look really bad. It really does. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. It does not make Donald Trump look good. The report is now public. Congress got, a report with very few redactions, and everyone's commenting on this. Trump's people, it's really if you're biased. If you're way on the right and you're a Trump supporter, you think this is a huge win for Donald Trump, and he's completely exonerated. Well, he's not exonerated, according to Robert Mueller. And then if you go to the left, everybody wants to make it out that he's going to go to jail. He's not going to go to jail. He's probably not going to be impeached. That's not going to happen. But again, it makes him look like, again, I say it all the time, and I'll say it again, the scumbag in chief. Okay, he is a liar. Okay, he does it all the time. Sarah Huckabee Sanders lies for him all the time, and there's a reason why he said, "Oh my God, my presidency is over with." There's a reason why he used the F word there, and he was worried. Plenty of reasons. Those reasons, a few of which I just mentioned, are in the report. So I want to get both of your opinions on that, JD and Chris, and we will take phone calls at 257-5396. Like I said, you won't find a more interactive show than ours. We love our listeners, even the ones that disagree with me, even the ones that call me names. I still want to hear from you, so give me a buzz. 257-5396. Again, that number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. 257-5396. What do you think this Mueller report means for Donald Trump? What does it mean for Republicans? What does it mean for Democrats? Will it affect the 2020 presidential race? We want to hear from you at 257-5396. Gentlemen, that's a big pill to swallow right there. I just gave you guys a lot of information. Your thoughts?
My thoughts are that the word of the day for me is hypocrisy. And look, in America, a lot of us who aren't lawyers, who don't like to get in the weeds when it comes to all the details with some type of scandal like this or episode or saga or whatever you want to call it, okay? To me, this is a situation where hypocrisy, once again, rears its ugly head. And I want to focus on the past 3 days, all right? Because they've been significant with respect to William Barr, the Attorney General, and the Justice Department, and where they stand with as far as President Trump and all this is considered. All right. I recall Trump supporters and Republicans being up in arms when the Attorney General Lynch had a chance meeting with the former President of the United States, Bill Clinton, on a tarmac. Okay, back when the email investigation was, I believe it was still in the midst of it, or it was still basically in the nuts and bolts of that. And they went bananas talking about, improper, meeting between an attorney general and a presidential candidate's spouse. It wasn't even the actual candidate. It was the spouse. And they were going crazy. And yet the past 3 days, the attorney general and Deputy Director Rosenstein and other members of the Justice Department have been at the White House filling in President Trump and his legal team as to what is about to transpire here today in the Mueller report. And from Republicans and from Trump supporters, you'll hear crickets. You'll hear nothing. All right? That is my initial reaction as far as hypocrisy. Now, everybody wants to boil down what happened today and boil down Attorney General Barr's second summary that he had today, where he has a press conference before the report is even out to give more perspective from him as to what has transpired here and what has happened with this report. His opinion, right? His views, the Justice Department, how they feel about what went down here.
Mm-hmm.
And in no way in that press conference did he say anything that would be construed as negative about the president.
It's almost like, Chris, he was acting like his attorney.
It was glowing from his standpoint,
Chris,
about the president of the United States.
Didn't it seem like almost like he was his defense attorney?
He was at 100%. That is what every reasonable person out there, if you're being honest with yourself, what William Barr did today was exactly what he did 2 weeks ago with that summary. It was saying everything positive. Now, to wrap this up, everybody wants to boil it down and say, and you pointed out at the top of the show saying that there's no collusion. That's not necessarily true, Brian. It's not that there's no collusion. It hasn't risen to a level that can be considered criminal. There were 16 individuals in the Trump campaign, in Trump's orbit, that had contacts with Russians, okay, prior to the election, during the election, whenever, okay? There was stuff that was going on that would be thought of as collusion. And by the way, collusion is not a crime. So yes, you know, it didn't rise to a point where they're going to throw Donald Trump and people. Some people got thrown in jail for other things, for lying to Congress and other things, right? But yes, because Donald Trump's not getting charged with collusion as a crime, which you can't do, doesn't mean that he is exonerated. And my final point is this. If he was exonerated, Robert Mueller, even William Barr, would have come out and said the President of the United States has been completely exonerated as far as obstruction of justice and as far as as far as any crimes related to collusion. Okay, I'll say it that way. Related to collusion. They never did that. They haven't done that. And that's why this is not going to end.
And that's an important point. Okay, let's go to a Trump supporter here. JD, what are your thoughts? Yes.
Do you consider sharing a Facebook meme or a post as collusion? Because that's what Trump's team did. A couple of Trump's members of his team shared the IRA's Facebook post. The IRA was the organization that was very, very pro-Trump and very negative towards Hillary Clinton. And a lot of people on Trump's team shared those posts via the internet. Is that collusion to you?
I think that's a very different.
It's a tough question. That's a loaded question, right?
It is. I think it's very different than what Don Jr. did. It's very simple. Don Jr., Jared Kushner, Ivanka Trump, according to the report, they lied.
They took a meeting.
They said it was about adoptions, JD. They lied. It's all put forth in the report. Now, why did they lie? I'll tell you why they lied. Because they knew they were doing something that they didn't want it to get out to the public. They were trying to get dirt on Hillary Clinton from Russians. And first of all, we all can agree, I would hope even Republicans would agree, that Don Jr. should have contacted the FBI.
Brian, you've said multiple times on this show over the last, well, say 9 months, that you hoped in the bottom of your heart that Donald Trump did not commit any crimes, that there was no collusion. But it seems to me here that you're really trying to find anything you can, and so are you, Chris.
No, I'm not trying to find anything I can.
I want to know the facts.
Proves that our
I
president
want the facts to be
committed crimes.
Themselves.
No,
you clearly wish that Donald Trump did commit crimes.
No,
Brian.
I disagree with you.
And you talk about hypocrisy.
Okay, so what have I said?
That is the definition of hypocrisy, Chris.
Okay, so hold on. Yeah. What have I said in the first 10 minutes that you disagree with? What have I said in my monologue that you disagree with? That would lead you to believe what you just said, that you think I want him to be convicted of a crime. Have I said anything that
Brian,
is not factually accurate?
You just basically accused him of being a criminal who has obstructed justice.
He did obstruct justice, and I'll point out why. I'll tell you why.
I can read it from the Mueller report if you want it. Mueller said that his team cited at least 10 episodes for potential obstruction. I'm not making that stuff up. And I also started the show by saying that I'm happy. The good news is that there was no collusion and that there were no charges filed. I started the show by saying that as far as obstruction goes, Mueller did not exonerate him. I'm not making this stuff up. I'm not happy to report that. I'm giving you the facts. And the facts are that Robert Mueller said there were at least 10 episodes of possible obstruction. He's leaving it to Congress to deal with. It's not like I'm happy to report that. I'm being fair. I mean, I don't think I've said anything that's not factually accurate.
Yeah, you're just pointing out facts. And to me, myself, it doesn't matter what I think as far as me being happy. That's not what it's about. It's about the facts being...
a scumbag. You called him a liar on multiple occasions.
We don't like Trump. Yeah, we don't like...
You said everybody on his team lies.
We don't like Donald Trump. Yes, Jason.
I didn't say...
You're saying we don't like Donald Trump. I don't like Donald Trump. Brian doesn't like Donald Trump.
Let me explain
But that doesn't mean
what I
that I'm like ecstatic
yes.
that he is in the wrong here.
I didn't say...
And by the way... Everybody wants to dance around the whole obstruction of justice and say don't want to say whether or not Donald Trump obstructed justice. let me start by saying, yes, he did. Donald Trump obstructed justice. I'll give you one example really quick. It's called firing James Comey. That was number one. And that's one of the 10 things that was brought up in the Mueller report.
Let me address what JD just said. Okay, first of all, I didn't say everyone in his administration lied. I was talking about Sarah Huckabee Sanders, and it's proven. She's a proven liar because she admitted it to Robert Mueller. It's in the report. That's the person who I said lied. She is absolutely, positively a liar. Why do I call Donald Trump a scumbag? Okay, that's a fair point. I'll tell you why I call him a scumbag, and we talk about this all the time.
Because of his wife and the kids and popping on a baby, et cetera.
Not just that.
The same thing we've all heard 15 times.
Well, you don't think that's a scumbag?
I understand, so do the listeners, why you think Donald Trump is a scumbag.
So you don't think he's a scumbag? Personally, as a personal,
I think Donald Trump right now is absolutely dismantling the Democratic Party because he.
What does that have to do with him being a scumbag?
Personal, everything aside, personal. He is speaking to the pockets of the United States of America.
But I'm not taking everything aside when I call him a scumbag. You could still be a scumbag and you could like his policies. I don't have a problem with that. I call him a scumbag as a human being for the things he says on a regular basis. Going after John McCain after he's already died.
He definitely isn't polished, and he's made a lot of mistakes.
No,
clearly.
George W. Bush wasn't
That's
polished.
like a general statement.
No.
I mean, there's a number of reasons why individuals, not just myself and Brian, but a lot of people think that the president is not a good guy.
George W.
Not a good human being.
George W. Bush was not polished.
We understand your point of view, JD, because you pointed out on social media today. Didn't you say that look, this today is an indication that 2020 is going to be a landslide? Did you not say that?
I think it's going to be a 70%
so you
margin
think Trump's
or
going
higher.
to easily win re-election?
I think he's going to win by. It's possible it'll be the largest margin ever.
We should probably take some phone calls because the phones have been lit up since the start of the show. Let me give out the number one more time. 257-5396, 702-257-5396. And I'll also add, I don't call somebody a scumbag unless I have reasons to back it up. It has nothing to do with his policies and everything to do with his personally, the things he says on Twitter. And, but
it has to do with some of his policies.
Perhaps, but we'll get into that. 257-5396. Let's go to Gary. Gary's leading off the show. What's up, Gary?
Hey, you know what? As a layman's terms, all you do is carry on this soap opera about President Trump and stuff. Why don't you come over here and visit my world?
Why would I want to do that? You don't sound interesting. Why would I want to go to your house?
I'll go over there for a couple cocktails, maybe a couple cold ones. That'd be a good time. Gary, we can hang out.
If you have cold ones and Keno,
whack back a couple
Chris
coldies.
Is on his way over.
I'm all. If you have a Keno machine over there, Gary,
and caveman.
It's game on.
Chris is coming.
Let's get serious here, Gary. You think this 400-page report is a soap opera?
Yes.
Why? Why would you say that?
On the big picture of things, but the little people, the regular people, they need to take a bus to go to work and have all these jerks and scumbags.
All right, I'm glad you bring that up, Gary.
Where are you?
Gary, I'm glad you bring that up about the people who take buses and stuff. Do you agree with Donald Trump's tax cuts for the rich then? What are your thoughts on that? He's certainly not giving you a tax break.
Yesterday. The middle ground.
I just asked you a specific question. For the people that can't afford a car that take a bus to work, Donald Trump is not giving you tax breaks. He's giving a tax breaks to the top 1%. What do you think about that if you want to bring that up?
Bernie Sanders might get elected.
Okay, thank you, Gary. I appreciate your honesty. I think I got you on that one. If you're going to talk about guys that are taking buses to work. 257-5396. Go to James, who's been waiting patiently on hold. James, go ahead.
How you doing tonight?
Good, James. What's on your mind?
What's up, James?
You guys are entertaining as heck tonight. Hey, a couple of things. First of all, this whole investigation started because the Democrats could not accept the result of the election.
Exactly.
And went collusion.
Completely ridiculous.
That's not true.
Completely ridiculous.
It was Trump's appointed people who were
the Democrats could not believe that they lost an election to someone with no experience like Donald Trump.
Just made a point. That is very true. This was about collusion. When they couldn't prove collusion, then they switched to obstruction.
Exactly.
Wait a minute. Let me point this out. Our president and nobody was charged with collusion or obstruction. Now, I have a very serious question. How are you exonerated from a crime you haven't been charged? I can barely say that, hey, you two have never been exonerated for soliciting prostitution.
First of all, James. Okay, let me answer that. First of all, James.
Or murder.
Okay, can I answer that? First of all, James, that is okay. Thank you. Thank you for letting me answer it. I appreciate that. First of all, that is the most ridiculous thing I have heard all week, and I get some idiots that call into the show. Number one. Number two.
Okay, now you're gonna call me an idiot.
Yeah, I think you are. Yeah, because. Okay, thank you. I'll answer your question. I'll answer your question, okay?
Why
the
don't
reason.
you do it without calling me an
Okay.
idiot?
Okay. You're right. Thank you very much.
You.
Thank you very much for the call, James. You're an idiot. Let me answer your question now. Goodbye. I just hung up on you because, first of all, an analogy.
You know who else does that? Donald Trump.
An analogy of I'm not the president. An analogy of me getting a prostitute, which would be 100% not true. If you had somebody investigate that, they wouldn't say, well, I can't exonerate him. If there would be no evidence to back it up, I would be exonerated, you pea brain.
No, what he's saying is Trump has not been charged with a crime, so he can't be exonerated from anything.
He also is saying
just like we haven't been charged with any possible crime either.
No, he also alluded to that. How can the president, clear himself of obstruction of justice? How can he prove that he didn't obstruct justice?
Chris,
that's not how the system works.
Chris,
okay?
how can I exonerate
You're innocent until proven guilty. You have
of
to
mail fraud?
What's that?
How can I exonerate you of mail fraud?
If there's no evidence to support it.
Yeah,
there's
no
evidence.
Yeah,
there's evidence to support.
It's not on Donald Trump to clear himself.
To Mr. Idiot. I'm sorry for calling you idiot. I'll call you Mr. Idiot
his name
next
was
time.
James.
Okay, Mr. James the Idiot. Okay, I just read it in the first segment. Okay, this segment I said that Mueller has cited 10 episodes of potential obstruction, okay? Can you find 10 episodes of me possibly picking up a hooker? Well, you might. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know if you've been following me around.
I would say closer to 30.
Yeah, maybe 30. Do you understand what I'm saying, dude? You made a ridiculous comment. 257
James, great call.
257-5396. Again, the number to call, 702-257-5396. Let's go to Mike. Mike, what's on your mind?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good. What's up, Mike?
I have a few things because I've been listening for a while. So on the slumping back in the chair and saying I'm F.
Yes.
Is there proof of that I can see somewhere?
Sessions under oath.
No. I don't want hearsay because I know Sessions.
That's not hearsay. He's under oath. That's not hearsay. Hearsay is when you hear something from a friend and they're not under oath and they just mutter something.
You saying that Sessions said it is hearsay.
No, it's not hearsay. It was a written document in the Mueller Report. That's not hearsay.
Right. Sessions said it, right?
Hearsay is me saying that your wife cheated on you with me. That's hearsay.
Right. Okay, no, okay. Sessions said it. He's lying.
How do you know that? You're going to say that Sessions lied under oath. Why would he do that? Tell me why he would do that.
Why did anybody?
Why would somebody just randomly lie under oath? So you're telling me that Sessions lied for no apparent reason. He just lied in front of Mueller and risked going to jail.
In your opening monologue, you're stating as fact that Trump did that.
It's in the Mueller Report. It's documented. Why would he make that up? Did Sarah Huckabee Sanders lie when she said she lied? Maybe. Was that hearsay too?
I'm just saying. You and Sessions, everybody in the media that's saying that Trump said that, I need proof before you.
Sessions was under oath. What do you think? He should have had his cell phone up there and a video of it? He was under oath. If he lied to Robert Mueller, he would have gone to jail for up to 20 years. You think he would have taken that risk to make that comment? You really believe that?
Trump enough, you'll take a risk.
All right. Well, that's completely and utterly ridiculous, Mike. That's ridiculous.
I'm just saying, don't present it as fact.
It's also almost impossible to prove that he did say that.
Why would he lie and risk up to 20 years in jail to make up something like that?
If you ask Trump if he said it, do you think he would deny it or admit it?
Yeah, because Trump always tells the truth. You're right. He never lies about anything.
Okay, but if Trump denies it...
Who do you think is more credible? Let me ask you a question, Mike. Who do you think is more credible, Jeff Sessions or Donald Trump? It's a simple question, Jeff. Or Mike, I'm sorry. Simple question.
Who's more credible?
That's exactly what I just asked you. It shouldn't take you that long to answer it.
No, because it's probably basically the same. I don't trust Sessions any more than I trust anyone.
All right.
Okay. So you probably don't even believe that Jeff Sessions was asked to unrecuse himself, which was also pointed out in the report. You probably think, no, that's not true either, because it's quote unquote hearsay. Of course, from the Mueller report, it's hearsay. It didn't happen,
man.
Right?
Give me a break. 257-5396.
It's defending the indefensible, Shap.
Yeah,
that's what all these people are doing.
I think one of the reasons why, if Trump actually did say that, and he may have been afraid for a number of things. But one of the reasons why he would say that is because he knew that he wouldn't be able to get anything done. He would have to deal with something like this for 2 or 3 or possibly 4 years, like he is dealing with right now.
JD, you're absolutely right. That's one of the underlying themes with Trump as far as this whole thing is that he thought it was undermining his presidency. And so that's why he had so much animosity and was saying so many things in public. About people and to people.
Let's try to sneak in one more call.
But just assuming that because he thought he was going to prison or something along those lines, that's off base, Brian.
What's off base? Say that again.
By assuming that the reason Trump would say that is because he was afraid that he was going to get caught for committing crimes.
That's not what I said. I said the reason. I was talking about Sessions when I said that. And
no,
I said,
but you said that he said I'm effed, and if he says I'm effed, then there's a reason for it, and he must be terrified.
Yeah, I think he was.
I think that he wasn't terrified. I think he was. I think that he was worried that he wouldn't be able to get anything done.
All right, well, that I don't know. I can't get inside Donald Trump's mind. Let's take one more call before we go to break. Bobby, you're on the Vegas Take. What's up?
Hey, what's up, man? Hey, what's up, boys? Hey, I'll tell you what, if you hang up on me, I still always listen to this show. I love it. It's hilarious.
Hey, thanks, Bobby.
I appreciate that. I'll do my best not to hang up on you.
Now, hey, listen, I do play a lot of poker, in Las Vegas, and I have actually run into a couple people that know you pretty intimately, pretty closely, actually.
Really?
Brian, and,
I'm sure they have nothing but nice things.
That you actually like Trump, but like to start some fires, and I think it's cool.
Let me be very clear. Hold on, Bobby. Let me be.
Wasn't that floated yesterday too?
Let me be very clear, Bobby.
JD, Shap is a closet Trump supporter.
This is the second time that's been brought up.
Bobby,
as a possibility.
Bobby, we only got about a minute here. Let me be. Hold on, Bobby. Let me be very clear with you. One thing I always do on the air is I'm honest. You might not always agree with me, but I am always going to speak my mind, and I'm always going to tell you how I feel. With that being said,
also a great actor in Poker Face.
Well, that's true. I do lie a lot at the poker table. I'm not going to disagree with you.
He nags worse than my ex-wife. It's like he's a male nag. Dude, relax for a minute. Trump is whooping all you guys.
Yeah, you're right, Bobby. You're delusional. That's like you having deuce 7 offsuit and going all in, thinking you're going to beat aces. I think you're mistaken there. If you're a poker player, you'll kind of get that analogy, Bobby. Anyway, we got to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll take more of your calls. It's getting a little
nice
fired.
hand, sir.
Yeah.
Nice hand, young man. Well played. Well played.
257-5396, the number to call. Again, that number to call is 257-5396. It's getting a little fired up here in the studio. I like it. JD Sharp and Chris Winn in studio. We'll take more of your calls when we come back. You are listening to the Vegas Take. All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro, Chris Winn in studio as well. Kind of a big news day. Yeah, kind of. The Mueller Report has been made public with some redactions. And certainly plenty of celebrities are weighing in on this. Let's start with Jon Favreau. Said, bottom line, the president tried to cheat in order to win the election and then repeatedly tried to end the investigation into his actions. I think Favreau's probably somewhere on the left. Patricia Arquette said, I wish a reporter would have asked Barr if Mueller finished with his investigation unimpeded or if he was asked by anyone to conclude. That's actually true. That's a good point. Stephen Colbert says, regardless of what Barr says, it seems like President Trump is completely page 290'd. That's kind of funny. Kamala Harris, Barr is acting more like Trump's defense attorney. I tend to kind of agree with that.
Did you actually
100% agree with that?
You quoted Kamala Harris today?
Yeah, why?
That's what you said earlier.
Why?
Let's hear some right-wing celebrities.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking. I don't see many. There's not many right-wing.
Why aren't there any?
I think James Woods is probably one of the few that I would name that is certainly on the right. But most celebrities lean to the left. There's no question about that. I certainly wouldn't deny that. But some of these tweets are very, very funny. Maria Shriver said, before we listen to the pundits, before we speak about something we haven't read, let's read and then make up your own mind. So Maria Shriver, there you go. She's like-minded, I would think, certainly with that treat. Kathy Griffin, I think we all could agree that Kathy is certainly to the left.
This will be very positive towards Trump.
Okay, that's it. I want the report from my federal investigation released. I never committed #harm to ongoing matter. And I'm a vulgar comic. Legendary, yes, but that's an interesting tweet.
She does way too many drugs.
Let's just hope she doesn't put out any more pictures or anything, though. That's the good thing, right?
There's no question that Hollywood is way to the left. And
most of them
one more picture, and she's definitely behind bars.
Most of
I don't think we'll see that happen again.
All right. Well, the number to call if you want to be a part of the show, we're certainly weighing in on the Mueller Report. The number to call if you want to be a part of the program is 257-5396. And I made it very clear from the get-go. And, look, Trump, did he lie? Did he collude? No, probably not. But certainly there's many cases you could make for obstruction in this report. Mueller handed it over to Congress for the most part. I mean, for lack of a better term, that's really what he did. And now we're going to find out if Congress is going to act on it or not. And we will have to see what happens.
Do you find it to be an issue that Donald Trump would want someone who supports him and more or less agrees with him, like Bill Barr as his AG? Is that an issue to you?
Oh, absolutely. Let's think about this, right? Let me ask you a very simple question with respect to William Barr, okay? Why did he have a press conference today an hour and a half, 2 hours before the Mueller report came out. I'll ask you a very simple question. Why did you do that?
Like saying that you would prefer the presidential cabinet to all be opposing the president. That makes no sense at all.
Well, it's a very simple question.
Of course the president's going to
why would he
appoint somebody who supports him. And that's not that big of a surprise, and it shouldn't be a surprise.
No. Look, the Attorney General of the United States is supposed to be the Attorney General of the United States for all the American people. But he's not the Attorney General of Donald Trump, okay?
Yeah.
So, again, I'll ask the question, and for the callers out there, I would love a response that's reasonable. And JD as well. Why did he have a press conference today before the Mueller report was released?
It's a good question. Let's find out. Let's open up the phone lines at 257-5396. Let's lead off with JD. JD, thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
Hi.
What's up, JD?
JD, I hope you'll help me out when I try to inbound the ball here because I know I'm going to get double.
Wait, you're going to defend Donald Trump? Wow, that's a shocker.
First of all, Mr. Trump provided 1.4 million documents to Mueller without any reservation. Mr. Trump did not exert executive privilege over any questions to Mueller. He gave his lawyers and his staff the permission to speak to Mueller. His personal lawyer spent 30 hours with Mueller's lawyer.
So what? So should we exonerate him on everything then? I don't understand your point. So what?
Just as
what he's saying is that Trump didn't stop this thing from coming out, despite the fact that
he only tried to. He
didn't rob that. He didn't rob 75,000 banks. He just robbed 10.
JD, you're forgetting a couple important things here. He tried to. Hold on a second. I'll let you. Hold on a second. You're forgetting some very important points here. He tried to fire Robert Mueller, okay? He fired James Comey. He got rid of Sessions. I noticed how conveniently you don't want to bring that stuff up.
I don't have a problem with him trying to fire Mueller because Mueller ended up being a giant distraction. And he has. This has been a giant distraction for Trump's presidency.
Obstruction of justice. That's why Don McGahn didn't do it. Is because that's why Don McGahn, quote-unquote, ignored the order.
You actually think that several people, including Don McGahn, actually ignored what the president told them to do.
100%. They absolutely did.
And they're now bringing it up now.
It was just pointed out in the Mueller report that they did.
I mean, that's according to the Mueller report.
They basically protected the president from
all these conversations happened where? In person?
Go ahead, JD.
Robert Mueller has the documentation.
Go ahead,
JD.
All of this conversation regarding firing Mueller and Comey is mute because the president of the United States is over them and has the authority to fire anybody he wants to, and that is not an impeachable offense. It is his privilege and his power.
It depends.
It's intent, JD. It's intent, though. If he intends to fire because he's obstructing justice, then that's not.
And that would be that would be a very, very interesting precedent to start if Trump went down for wanting to fire someone, despite the fact that it is his God-given right and his presidential right.
Okay,
is he firing because he doesn't like the color of his suit?
He wants to.
Is he firing because he doesn't like the color of his suit?
You guys, hold on. Let me take care of this.
You understand what I'm saying?
Here's why both JDs are wrong, in my opinion, okay? It's a matter of intent.
Yes.
If you fire Comey for hold on, let me finish. If you fire Comey for the only reason of the Russian investigation, and by the way, Trump basically admitted that, then guess what? You can be impeached for that, okay? You can. Chris is right. It has everything and anything to do with intent. Now, you're right. If he's firing because he doesn't think he's doing a good job because of a number of issues, that's one thing. But if you're firing him because you think, oh, boy, this Russian investigation is starting, you can't do
Brian,
that.
How do you prove intent?
He said it.
Incompetent.
Trump said it in an interview.
Lester Holt on NBC.
Said it.
He said that it was because of this whole Russia thing.
Yeah.
And the whole Russian thing's a hoax, and that's why. Yeah. He points it out in plain as day.
Yeah. So JD, I appreciate the phone call, but once again, you call up and all you do is you defend Donald Trump, and not you, JD. I'm talking about the caller, JD. He calls up and he wants to bring, Trump, all he did was cooperate. He was so great. Meanwhile, every day he's tweeting out how this is a witch hunt, and he's going after Mueller, and he gets rid of Sessions, and he gets rid of Comey. Give me a break, JD. Stop it with your right-wing hack nonsense. You call into the show. You do it every single day. 257-5396 is the number to call. 702-257-5396. The only thing I'm surprised is that JD didn't bring up the Clintons or Obama in that conversation. That's the only shocker to me.
Chris did earlier.
I will, and I'll do it again. Did Bill Clinton not get impeached? He got impeached, right? Because he lied to Congress about a sexual affair.
He had a little fun. He had a little fun with Monica Lewinsky. Yeah. Yeah, from what I recall.
But all of a sudden, Donald Trump does all these things that are clear obstruction of justice. Everyone wants to dance around and say, "Oh, it might have been, it may be, it might be, it might be."
Chris,
it was obstruction
who
of
exactly
justice.
was Monica Lewinsky an intern for?
Monica Lewinsky was, I have no idea. She was an intern in the White House, right? So I assume the President of the United States or somebody on his staff, right?
So is it possible
really
that one of the reasons why he was impeached was because he was potentially abusing his power for his own sexual gratification over someone that he has?
Well, I believe
because he lied about it.
No, but the reason why was he lied to Congress about it. That's why he got impeached.
Big deal.
That's why Congress decided to impeach him, or the House of Representatives decided. Obviously, the Senate didn't.
Well,
but still,
here's the thing: if you think it's a really big deal, and by the way,
that is a very big deal.
Okay,
so
I mean, that's basically what the Me Too movement is predicated on.
If you think
because
that it is
all the time
hold
in
on,
Hollywood.
hang on, Chris. If you think that it is a really big deal, and I don't necessarily disagree with you.
No,
hold on. Let me just make my point.
Yeah.
If you think it is a big deal that Bill Clinton lying about the Monica Lewinsky thing, then hold on. Let me ask the question. I'm asking you a question. Then you have to think that it is a big deal that Sarah Huckabee Sanders lies and Donald Trump lies every day.
You're not asking me a question. You are telling me what to think.
I'm asking you, yes or no?
Backwards question.
Yes or no? Do you not think it's a big deal?
If Donald Trump has an intern that he has power over and he is getting sexual gratification from that person, that he should definitely be impeached. And so should any president ever. And so should anybody, any CEO, any male in a position of power should be in that position.
So you don't think Sarah Huckabee Sanders lying to the media about why Donald Trump fired James Comey, you don't think that's a big deal?
Well, to be honest with you guys, you're not even pointing out the obvious, which is there's 10 things that the president did as far as obstruction of justice that should be impeachable for him. That Congress is, by the way, Congress is going to get into here in the next couple of weeks to maybe a couple of to multiple months. It's not just about Sarah Huckabee Sanders lying, Shap and JD. There are a number of things that the president did with respect to obstruction of justice that are going to get analyzed here by Congress.
And it's going to Congress. Chris, let's take some calls. Let's go to Brian. Brian, thanks for calling into the Vegas Take. What's up?
What's up, Brian?
Mercy. Get the fire extinguisher out there, JD. You're going to need it.
Go ahead, Brian. What's on your mind?
I got a couple of tweets I want to read, but first I want to correct Chris and say something about the press conference today. Number one, Bill Clinton lied under oath to a judge, not to Congress. He lost his law license because of it. Mm-hmm. So that's a little bit different than going before Congress and lying.
Well, why did he get impeached?
Why did he get impeached? Law after taking the oath and said he did something he didn't do.
What did he get impeached for?
Something he did. Okay,
Brian. What did he get impeached for? What did he get impeached for in the House of Representatives?
That was one of the charges. Lying.
One of the charges. So he said there was multiple charges that the president
there were multiple
got
charges.
impeached for.
Yes, and like JD so brilliantly just elocuted to you guys, somebody that's in a position of power and superiority over an inferior employee, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I used to have to go to these kinds of classes every year in my job. That is expressly forbidden.
Don't tell me that Donald Trump.
I don't understand. Any other company would have been fired, and there would have been damages.
Brian, don't tell me that Donald Trump has not abused the power of the presidency. Okay, we'll move on. Okay,
I'm not going to say that.
Okay, so next subject. Okay, we'll agree on that one. Okay, next subject.
The press conference. Okay.
Yes.
Made perfect sense. Let's not forget that this whole Mueller investigation is a grand jury investigation.
How could you say the press conference made perfect sense when it was 90 minutes before the report made public? What are you talking about?
I'll explain that to you.
Please do. Please do. I can't wait.
Let him talk, Brian.
A grand jury investigation, you hear one side of the issue. There is no cross-examination. There is no defense lawyers. There is only the prosecution, and they put their evidence in front of the seated grand jury. Okay, that's number one. So when this report comes out, according to a Harvard law professor, what they should have done is allowed Donald Trump's attorneys to see it first and prepare their report and then release both reports on the same day.
Completely disagree.
What does it have to do with Brian? What does it have to do with William Barr having a press conference before the report comes out and using these glowing, basically, exonerating terms, talking about the president of the United States?
He never actually said
what does that have to do with that? Yeah, like what's the purpose of the Attorney General of the United States having that?
Chris, he was simply explaining his position. That's all he was doing.
No, he wasn't. He was making determinations as to what. Right. He was making conclusions about the report.
He was explaining why he said what he said and why he came up with what he came up with.
And it makes perfect sense to anybody with people with their hair on fire.
Yeah.
Okay?
Brian,
now,
well,
you
quickly.
guys know who Glenn Greenwald is, guys?
I've heard of him. I don't know exactly.
All right. If you know anything about the Snowden debacle, he was the investigative reporter that took the information from Snowden.
Yes.
About the CIA and their secret kill.
I'm on
program that they were
antidepressants.
using.
Please make your point.
Okay?
I'm getting depressed.
Now, he's a progressive. He's a leftist. He's gay.
Yes.
This is Brazil.
Okay.
But here's what he said today, okay? And I quote.
Who cares?
If there's no media reckoning for what they've done for the last 2 years,
who cares what he said?
Don't ever complain again when the people attack the media as fake news or identify them as one of the country's
All right. The media is not fake news. I don't know. Yeah, the media is not fake news. I don't know. So you think? So are we going to indict the media now? And now there's going to be this crusade now against the media.
Chris, honestly, it's almost impossible to sue the media, and it should be possible because the media leverages Google.
Well, almost impossible.
No,
it is impossible.
No, it can be done, but it's very, very difficult to sue the media, and the media is responsible for a lot of slander and libel.
Because Donald Trump got railroaded by a Mueller report. Okay,
it depends on the circumstance. Every case is different. Let's go to Dave. Dave, thanks for calling into the Vegas Take. What's on your mind?
Hi, Dave.
Well, let's see here. I'm going to say this not as a right-winger, not as a left-winger, but somebody who's more politically in the middle.
Okay.
But, dude, the rabid Trump hatred and the TDS you are suffering from is over the top. Dude.
What have I said that is not factual in the first hour of the program? Please be specific if you're going to call me a name.
I'm not talking about facts versus...
You're not talking about facts.
Over-the-top reaction.
What was over the top that I've said in the last hour? Please be specific.
Well, I haven't been listening for the entire hour.
So you haven't been listening. You haven't been listening, but you want to say I have Trump syndrome, but you can't name one specific thing that I've said in the first 55 minutes of the show.
You have missed out.
What have I said ever specifically that would lead you to believe that I have Trump syndrome? Please be specific. Anytime in the show.
Simple. If Trump is for it, you're against it.
Please be specific. I'll ask you for the 6th time. Not even today. Any show I've ever done, please be specific. Something that would prove that I have Trump derangement syndrome. I'm giving you one more chance. I've asked you 6 times.
Trump didn't get any charges against him. And instead of going, hey, you know what? Okay, maybe there really isn't anything to all.
Obviously, you didn't listen to the first segment because in the first segment, the first 10 seconds of the show, I said the good news. The good news is he's not going to jail. There was no collusion. That's the first thing I said in the show, Dave. You know what I think you have? I think you have a problem with your ears. I think you're deaf. Okay, that's what I think you have. Go get a hearing aid. Don't say I have Trump derangement syndrome when you don't even listen to the first 55 minutes of the show. The hell's wrong with you? I asked you 6 times. Name one thing specific that I've ever said about Donald Trump that would lead you to believe that I have Trump derangement syndrome. I asked you 6 times. You couldn't answer the question. You have derangement syndrome, and I think you have derangement syndrome in supporting Donald Trump. Take off your Donald Trump knee pads and then call me back tomorrow. Let's go to Chuck. Chuck, thanks for calling into the Vegas Take. What's on your mind?
What's up, Charles?
You guys need to calm down over here.
Oh, no. If someone says I have Trump derangement syndrome and they can't name one specific thing I've ever said to prove their point, then, I'm going to go off on
Brian
it,
is
Chuck.
not a fan of acronyms.
All right, well, listen, now that we know that Trump is not guilty of anything.
That's not true. He wasn't exonerated.
He's innocent. He's completely innocent, right? Yeah.
He's exonerated.
No, he hasn't, according to Robert Mueller. So what you've said in the first 10 seconds of this call is not factually accurate. Robert Mueller, I'll take his word over yours.
Now the next move for Trump should be given another Medal of Freedom, Medal of Freedom.
Yeah.
And it should be to
you know
William
what?
Barr.
If
William
it's
Barr.
You know what?
William Barr.
Right, hold on, Chuck.
Hold on.
Chuck, I'll give him a medal. Chuck, I'll give him a medal. I'll give him a medal for being one of the biggest womanizers in the history of this country. How about that? I'll give him that award. How about that?
Listen, he should give one to the ex-president Bill Clinton for actually having an affair with Monica Lewinsky and not sleeping with his wife.
Yeah.
That ugly pig.
So, Chuck, are you married? Yeah, what a coward. He hangs up the phone. I think Chuck is an ugly pig. That's what I think. By the way, I'm not going to defend Hillary Clinton, but if you're just going to go after somebody's looks.
If Hillary Clinton was your wife, would you sleep with her?
Why would you ask me that question?
Just a question.
Why would you ask me that?
So his answer no.
Why would I even? No, I don't find Hillary Clinton attractive.
Okay.
I don't know what that has to do with anything. I'll tell you what. I didn't vote for her, but I think she's more intelligent, probably 3 times more intelligent than Donald Trump. I'll say that. I'll give her that.
Because she's a Rhodes Scholar?
No, I mean, I think she's accomplished a lot more in her life than Donald Trump has. Nobody gave her millions of dollars or took over a $400 million company. Nobody handed anything to Hillary Clinton. I think she earned it. in her life, and I respect her a lot more than I respect Donald. Now, with that being said, I didn't vote for Hillary because I think she's also a liar. I think she's also a scumbag. I think she's a typical lying scumbag politician out for herself. I've been very, very honest when it comes to Hillary Clinton. Now, Bill Clinton, he lied. He got impeached. Thought Bill Clinton was a decent president. I thought he was able to reach across the aisle, deal with the Republicans, and get along with the Republicans for the most part, and I think that's why the economy was doing so well. I thought Bill Clinton did a lot of good things in his presidency. I don't think Hillary Clinton would have been a good president. That's why I did not vote for her. 257-5396, the number to call, by the way, 257-5396. We'll take some more of your calls after the break. We got Winn in studio along with J.D. Sharp. I've never been asked that question before about Hillary Clinton.
That's a great question.
Yeah, I have some stomach cramps now.
I was thinking about it. I mean, maybe back when she was my age, I might have thought about it. She had that. She's not ugly by any stretch of imagination.
JD.
She's got decent Midwest,
we got
wholesome looks back then.
The answer for me is a resounding yes.
We got 30 seconds left. Nancy Pelosi, yes or no?
JD's a Midwest guy.
Absolutely.
Okay,
100%. Back when she was 40 in her 40s, no question.
You guys are crazy. All right. Well, I answered the question as honest as I could.
How about this, chap? Sarah Huckabee Sanders for you.
How much money would I have to get? How much? There'd have to be a lot of.
I'd have to throw some.
There'd have to be a lot of money involved.
Some big-time ducats.
There'd have to put some. Yeah, there'd have to be some money involved.
I will
that's
give
for
you
sure.
one signed T.J. Otzelberger mini basketball.
There you go.
Oh, then I'll do it. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay,
100%. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back right after this. The number to call if you want to be a part of the program, 257-5396. You're listening to The Vegas Take. We'll be back right after this. All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. Chris Winn in studio. Phone lines always open unless it's busy. Keep calling. 257-5396 is the number to call. We're talking about, of course, the Mueller Report. I find this very interesting, guys. The only part of the Mueller Report where Robert Mueller defends himself are pages 80 and 81 when it comes to Donald Trump and all the attacks. And this is the only point where he defends himself, and it has to do with Donald Trump's golf course, his golf club. I didn't know this, but Robert Mueller was a member of Donald Trump's golf course in Virginia. And apparently, when this investigation started, Mueller got rid of his membership. He claims, quote, in the report, we live in the district and find that we are unable to make full use of the club. Whether we would be entitled to a refund or a portion of our initial membership fee, that I don't know. He put that in the report. I find that really interesting. Donald Trump calling this a witch hunt, wanting Robert Mueller's head, wanting him to be fired, all the bad things that Donald Trump said about Robert Mueller. And the only time Mueller ever defends himself is why he redacted his membership at Donald Trump's golf course. I find that to be very interesting. Again, the number to call, 257-5396. Across the table here, J.D. Sharp and Chris Winn. Let's go to Marge. Marge, thanks for calling in. What's on your mind, Marge?
Oh, this whole Mueller report, of course. I mean, it's the subject of the day. In bit of trivia, Kim Kardashian's book, Selfish, is the same size as the Mueller report. So talk about coincidence. Maybe have the taste for 448 pages. I don't know.
I would say if Kim Kardashian wrote a book, I'd say the over-under on how many pages she actually wrote in that book would be 2.5, maybe 2.5 pages.
Maybe less.
Yeah, maybe less. You're right. So what do you think about this report, Marge? What are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I did watch, which I normally don't. I watched TV this morning because I wanted to see what would happen with Barr. And I was in shock because he became the defense counsel for the president.
Yeah, I agree.
He did not separate at all the Justice Department, which is what he's supposed to be doing. So we have another yes person, in the cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
And to his credit, Chris Wallace did mention something about that, which I thought was nice on the Fox station.
To me, Barr is a complete and utter disgrace.
Yes.
The way he's handled this whole thing.
It's awful, and it then impacts, it clouds his work going forward.
Absolutely.
Anything else he does, it's going to be a question.
And what about Sarah Huckabee Sanders? She admitted to lying in this report. I mean, she's the one who admitted to it. How can anyone believe anything she says from here on out?
Well, not only that, but there's also another statement about, that note that Trump was supposedly dictated about his son in that whole tower meeting.
Right.
And she said, oh, no, and then it comes out that, yes, he did,
Yeah. I mean, lie after lie. Just, it's not against the law to lie in certain circumstances, particularly a lot of these lies in the report, but it doesn't mean it's okay. It doesn't mean it's okay that Don Jr. decided to have this meeting with Kushner. It doesn't mean it's okay. All the things, not to sound like Adam Schiff, but all the things that they did, we shouldn't be okay with this.
Right.
Just because it's not against the law doesn't mean it's okay.
Right. And what I thought was interesting, your station, KDWN, on its website, put the questions and answers that Mueller gave to Trump. I read through all of that. I took time to do that. And it's surprising because you think someone who is in the position that he's in, I thought executives are supposed to have good memories. And every one of those practically said, I don't recall. So he takes a very polite fifth.
It's funny, Donald Trump was the person who said he had the best memory of anybody, and then there's at least 30 questions where he answers, I do not recall. Right. Funny, that's a very good point you bring, Marge.
Yeah, and Mueller decided he was upset about it, but I read in someplace else that he really didn't accept it, but he just wanted to move on. He was tired of the delays and the games and everything else and the stall tactics.
Right.
So he said, oh, the heck with this, And part of those FAQs, what I thought was surprising, I didn't even think about it at the time, but one of them talked about the Russian hacking incident of the Democratic computers, and it seems strange that it was announced on June 14th when that happened.
Yeah.
Well, June 14th happens to be Trump's birthday. So I kind of feel like maybe there's some coincidence going on over there.
You know what? I think there's a lot of very interesting coincidences. How about, here, I'll give you a coincidence, Marge. What do you think about this? Do you remember when Donald Trump asked WikiLeaks to find Hillary Clinton's emails?
Right.
And then literally 5 hours later, they hacked into her account. Do you remember that?
I do.
Yeah. Talk about a coincidence. Marge, always good to hear from you. I appreciate the call. Thank you very much. 257-5396 is the number to call. Go ahead, Chris.
You know, it's funny, Shap and JD. People who are rich normally don't have to tell you that they're rich. People who are smart don't have to tell you that they're smart. People that
I'm very smart.
People that have a very
Chris,
good
I'm quite rich.
brain don't have to tell you that they have a brain. My point being this is that it's people that have to mention that, okay, that normally have a deficiency in that area.
What is it they say about wealthy rich men that drive big sports cars? They have small genitalia. That's just I don't know if that's true or not, but that's just what I've heard. I don't know.
That's a quick phrase that is tossed out there.
I heard Donald Trump owns plenty of sports cars. Well, so does Jay Leno. Well, we'll have to ask them if we get Jay on the phone. 257-5396. Let's go to Ron. Ron, thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
Hello, gentlemen. How are you tonight?
Doing good, Ron. What's up?
Ron the Patriot from Las Vegas.
All right, Mr.
Whatever
Patriot.
that lady just told you, she sounds like a Muslim plant. Now,
what does that mean?
The reason I called.
Whoa, hold on a second.
She didn't say anything about any religion.
What
or
are you
Muslim,
talking about?
I know the psychology of these people. I've been studying these people for 50 years.
Ron, can I make an assumption about you? Have you ever heard of the term trailer trash?
I'm an American.
Have you ever heard of the term trailer trash?
I'm an American. You understand? I'm 73 years old.
I don't care if you're 103. Why would you? Why? I don't care how old you are. Why would you call that woman that name?
Can I tell you why I called?
Yeah, but no. Why don't you? No, you started the conversation by insulting my last caller for no reason.
I made a statement. I didn't start the conversation.
It was an idiotic statement. Okay, well, I think you're trailer trash. What do you think about that?
You understand? I don't like her psychology. Well, let me tell you.
So why didn't you say that then? Yeah.
Can I tell you why I called?
I can't wait because you're making so much sense. Yeah, I can't wait. Go ahead.
All right.
Yeah.
Can I tell you why I called? The reason I called is because I wanted to compliment you. You know why?
Oh boy!
Because you called Hillary Clinton a scumbag.
Yeah, you know why?
You always called Donald Trump.
You know why? Because I'm honest. I'm intellectually honest. That's why.
You finally said the doggone truth.
I finally did? When have I ever lied? Hold on a second. When have I ever lied on this show? When have I ever lied? You said I finally spoke the truth?
You're like a dog, man.
Give me one specific. Give me one specific example where I lied, Ron, and all the shows you listen to. Give me one specific example. Give me one specific example. Hey, dumbbell, give me one specific example. Are you ever going to be quiet and answer a question? Oh, you are just a moron. Goodbye, Ron.
And by the way, you pointed out that she was a scumbag, Shap. I disagree with you a little bit because, look, there's different degrees of scumbag. Are you trying to insinuate that she's the same amount of scumbaggery as Donald Trump? Because I would absolutely, positively disagree with you on that.
Here's why I would say she's a scumbag.
Here's the way she treated her Secret Service. Yes,
scumbaggery.
There are opportunities to criticize Hillary Clinton for her personality.
Here's why
Make no mistake about it. I don't think they're even in the same ballpark.
Chris, I would
when you're
like
talking
to
about
know
Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton.
What your gauge for scumbaggery is based on?
Well, gauge is based on the person, how they treat individuals around them.
Give me
people
three characteristics and explain why Trump is higher on your scumbaggery level than Hillary Clinton.
Wow, the characteristics.
I can answer that. Hold on. Let me answer. Let me take
I
it
could
from
go
here.
into a litany of more than just
First
three,
of all,
actually,
I
yes.
think Hillary Clinton is phony.
I need the requirements
Okay,
for
hold
the
on.
scumbaggery scale.
Hillary Clinton is phony. She's a liar. I believe she's a typical lying politician that is out for herself.
She's probably a murderer.
Okay, well, that's ridiculous.
Probably
you can't just throw that.
That's preposterous.
That's ridiculous. She's not a murderer. She's not a murderer. Now, here's the difference between, and I'm not a Hillary supporter. I'm trying to tell you the reasons why I don't like her. Donald Trump, first of all, anybody who has sexual relations with a porn star days after your wife has a baby is a scumbag. Also, going after POWs but when they're alive and when they have brain cancer and when they're dead. That is the definition of a scumbag. And for anybody, Chris, I know you were in the military. Yes. You served. That's a scumbag, JD. I don't recall Hillary Clinton ever going after members of the military. I don't recall Hillary Clinton, doing anything near that sort of stuff that Trump has done.
Hillary Clinton basically called all of Donald Trump's supporters deplorable.
No, she didn't. She said it was
She
said 50%, didn't she? Didn't she say 50%? And by the way, that number's wrong.
People?
The number's wrong. It's probably around it's probably around 25%. Okay. She said 50%, and she was wrong about the number. And so everybody, all right wingers, people on the right, and Republicans jumped all over and said, "Oh yeah," and a lot of them took it as a moment of pride.
Look, when you're a politician,
I'm curious what the definition of deplorable is.
Let me respond to that. First of all, she made a mistake by saying that, even if it is true.
50%. And Trump also made a mistake by stomping on John McCain's grave, which I've said on several times.
No. That's two completely different things.
No, he made a huge mistake there.
Calling a voter deplorable and going after a war hero
on multiple occasions.
That
is more than beneath the presidency.
JD and Brian, I'll make it very simple for you guys, okay? If there's the a-hole meter, okay, and it's up here, okay, and it's up here and it's down here.
So scumbaggery,
where does Donald Trump land on that, and where is Hillary Clinton? In my opinion, my humble opinion, I think Donald Trump would lie much higher on that a-hole meter, okay, than Hillary Clinton.
Well, look, we could debate this, but we could.
I don't think I am.
But I'll give out the number. Yeah. What do you guys think out there? Who do you think is a more deplorable human being, Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump? Let me give out the number, 257-5396, 702-257-5396. I do think it is a legitimate question. Here's my take on this whole thing. Again, if you are the type of human being that is going to go after a POW like John McCain, for 5 years the guy was tortured, and you're going to say you don't respect him because he was captured, short of being a criminal, there is nothing worse in the world than doing what he did. And then a few months ago, after McCain's death, he said he should have been thanked for John McCain's funeral. He wanted to be thanked for that. He went after John McCain's grades in school. The man has passed away, and he is a war hero. Now, Hillary Clinton, no doubt about it, she's done some bad things. I don't think she's a great person. But, yeah, to what Chris said, I think Donald Trump's far worse of a human being than Hillary Clinton, and I am not going to defend Hillary Clinton. We'll take some phone calls, all that. Let me give out the number again, 257-5396, if you want to be a part of the show. We're talking about the Mueller Report. JD raised the question, who do you think is a worse human being, Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump? We'll take your answers on that. Again, the number, 257-5396.
And I'll do you one better, Brian. I'll bring up what you bring up all the time, the speech that he made regarding Mexicans back when he started his campaign. And he talked about Mexicans being rapists and murderers, but I assume some are good people, okay? That's not a good guy. All right, when you approach it that way, as if he was
referring to illegal immigrants. Hillary Clinton was referring to citizens of the United States of America.
He's saying some of them, as that's referring to a lesser portion of people who are undocumented immigrants as being bad people. Okay, when you say that some of them, if you said most of them, then that'd be the right thing to say, and that'd be the correct one, by the way, because most of them are. And, you got into it yesterday with JD, the caller, when he continues to bring up about 33% of crimes here in the Vegas Valley are committed by undocumented immigrants, which, by the way...
He does love that one.
He does love that stat. I would love to see that stat in writing and proven, because I think it's absolute BS, okay? There's no way that 33% of the felonies committed in Clark County are by undocumented immigrants, by the very nature of undocumented immigrants being not knowing who they are.
Not only that, but the security near the Strip is so aggressively strong, and they look for things like that. I think that's probably a very off base as well.
Yeah, but JD, the caller, it was a ridiculous comment because it's not true. There's no way 33% of felonies in Clark County
the bottom line
are committed by undocumented
do you ever
immigrants.
hear Donald Trump talking about illegals and saying, look, I think the majority of them are good people? Do you ever hear Donald Trump talking about illegals in a positive light? And do you ever hear him talking about asylum seekers? Never.
A judge, an Indiana judge who was born and raised in Indiana, he brought up his nationality, him being Mexican, and that he couldn't do his job because he was Mexican. Yet another example, Shap, of Donald Trump not doing the right thing or not saying the right thing when it comes to either race or bringing up an issue like that.
Look, the bottom line is this report, this Mueller report, that's the basis of what we've been talking about. It doesn't shed Donald Trump in a very good light. If anything, it sheds some of his people in his administration in a good light when he tried to obstruct, according to Robert Mueller, and many people in his administration refused, did not come to Donald Trump's aid. So it certainly doesn't make Sarah Huckabee Sanders look very well. She's a proven liar, and then she says it was a slip of the tongue. Let me tell you what a slip of the tongue is, okay? It's when you use a Freudian slip or a swear word comes out by accident. That is a slip of the tongue. When you lie, and you knowingly lie, on a national stage in front of the media, that is not a slip of the tongue. You are called a premeditated liar. That is what she is. She is a premeditated liar with zero credibility. She should be out the door. He should hire somebody with a little bit of credibility. She has none. Zero.
And Brian and JD, it continued today in an interview on CNN with Anderson Cooper and Deputy Press Secretary Hogan Gidley. When he had an interview, he made a number of statements in the interview that were not factually accurate. And Anderson Cooper ended up having to call him out. It was actually a pretty entertaining clip of television that I think both people on any side of the aisle, whatever your ideology is politically,
Sanders
need to take a look at.
She isn't great, but she should have been out for one reason and one reason only. She used remember that Twitter post, that edited Twitter post, that video that was put up by that ultra-conservative right network or website? She took that video and put it on the official White House Facebook or Twitter page. That was crazy. She should have been out for that.
Yeah, I hate to say this because I can't believe I'm going to defend the Mooch, but I think Scaramucci would have been a much better. I think he's more honest, to be quite frank. He criticizes Trump at times when it's necessary. He's still on Donald Trump's side, but I think Mooch would have been a much better press secretary. Sarah Huckabee Sanders, to me, is the worst. I never was a fan of her father to begin with, and it's just disappointing. It really is. It's disappointing that we have people like this that we have to listen. And by the way, she's not doing a lot of media these days, right? She was on Fox News today. She doesn't do a lot of media. She's not doing a lot of press conferences, and maybe that's a positive for the White House.
No, it is. It is.
I mean, it probably is a positive for one reason only. They can't lie every day. That's probably the one reason why it's a positive.
It's interesting, though, that you bring up Anthony Scaramucci, Brian, because, he is that kind of city slick type of guy. There's a lot of opportunities where he says things but doesn't say things, right? Like, he has a way of having an ability to, at times, I don't even know if critical is the right word, but at times he will check the president or people in his cabinet, right? But it ends up coming off as if he's not critical. No. It ends up coming off as if he still has their back, yet he finds a way to wheel and deal it. It's very interesting to listen
he's
to
a very, very smart guy and street smart, like you said.
Yes.
He also realizes and he sees this on the ground right now that the Democrats are not about to win this election because of the way that they're handling everything right now. He recognizes that, and he calls them out regularly when he goes on their shows.
He has 10 times more credibility than Sarah Huckabee Sanders in my eyes. 10 times more credibility.
Which is not saying much.
It's not saying much, but I find him much more credible. I do. Right. Look, he goes on the Bill Maher show. He goes on, the left-wing shows, and he states his case. I do think he's more honest. I don't always agree with him. But again, Sarah Huckabee, you want to talk about deplorable. Sarah Huckabee Sanders. She calls herself a good Christian woman, right, with values. Yeah. What type of values do you have when you lie for the president every day? That's what she does. Just watch her press conferences. Watch it. It is a joke.
Well, the evangelicals have sold their soul. Okay, that ship has already sailed. Okay, it sailed when we found out that the president of the United States was an unindicted co-conspirator with a campaign finance violation where he paid off a porn star before the election. So that, and it doesn't even matter what the reason is. Was it because he didn't want his wife to find out? Was it because he didn't want the American people to find out about it before the election? That ship has sailed. Okay, so if you're an evangelical, you're already a hypocrite because you support a man in the White House. And it was hilarious the other day, JD and Shap, when you had that woman call in to your show and try to claim that Donald Trump was a born-again Christian. I almost lost it. I tweeted out. Was kind of funny. I said I went absolutely berserk. What gives you any indication, Brian or JD, that Donald Trump is any type of born-again Christian, normal Christian, Presbyterian, Baptist.
I don't know. I heard
someone who goes to church, anything like that.
I heard a rumor that
Nothing.
I heard a rumor that Donald Trump isn't allowed within 100 feet of a church. I don't know if that's true or not.
It'd be like Al Pacino, right? In Devil's Advocate, when he put his finger in the water, it would start boiling.
Yeah, exactly. 257-5396 is the number to call. Again, 257-5396. Let's go to Lewis. Lewis, thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
Hey, man, you guys were asking who's a better person, Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton.
Mm-hmm.
You've got your answer. Who's president of the United States?
That doesn't mean he's a better person.
Because he got elected?
Well, hold on. The people of the United States knew what was out there about Donald Trump.
Not true. The majority of Americans voted for Hillary Clinton, so you're wrong. He won the Electoral College.
But unfortunately for you, that's what the founding fathers have created.
It's not unfortunate for me. I'm just giving you a fact. The majority of people who voted for Hillary Clinton, so you're wrong.
3 million more, actually.
Yeah, 3 million more Americans voted for Hillary.
Sir, unlike you, sir, I accept the way things are in
What makes you think I don't accept it? I never said Hillary Clinton deserves to be the president. When did I ever say that I didn't accept it?
You asked me. Doesn't matter if it's popular vote or not.
We're talking who's a better person. We pose the question: who's a better person, Hillary Clinton, or just because he won the election doesn't make him a better person? It does because he won the election.
And that's what's happening with the Trump haters and the left wing media. You guys don't see it.
Okay, hold on, Chris.
What you guys do on a daily basis is insult the Trump voter. And what you're doing is creating more. And that's okay.
There's more Trump voters. There's more people that support Donald Trump now than support him during the 2016 election.
And I'm gonna
Are you saying that? Lewis, you're saying that with a straight face.
I will say that with a straight
Absolutely
face.
is not.
I will definitely say that with a straight face.
Hold on. Let me, guys.
Because I'll explain why. The polarization of this country. So Donald Trump is so. The left doesn't like Donald Trump as a human being, right? Well, if you don't like him as a human being, how do you like his policies? So they're forced to make these policies that are so far to the left that they're not even reasonable. Their policy isn't reasonable at this point, and a smart,
let me ask Lewis
educated voter with a decent job who pays attention to their finances is going to vote for Trump in 2020.
Let me just ask you, Lewis. Let me ask you a question, okay? Why do you define what we do as left-wing media? Can you please explain that? Because I'm critical of Donald Trump, you think you automatically think...
And Lewis, only one of us is critical of Donald Trump most of the time.
That's not true. You're critical of him, too.
Most of the time.
For 8 years, no one criticized the president like this president.
Did you listen to my show a couple of years ago?
Look, you know what?
The answer is no. So don't make a comment like that. First of all,
the reality is the following.
The reality is you're making comments with no facts or facts to back it up. I asked you who is the better person, and the only thing you've mentioned is because he was voted in office. Because he was voted in office, that's ridiculous.
For Donald Trump.
So because you're voted in office, that makes you a better person than another politician that wasn't voted? That's insane.
Out there had the same information, and obviously
not true.
More people with the way our system is designed, voted for him for president.
Not true. We didn't have the Stormy Daniels information. He kept that from us, so you're completely not factual.
He kept what? You know what, sir? Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Well, you don't speak for me.
Cares.
You don't speak for me. I care. You've made blanket statements that are not factual.
Nobody would have cared.
All right. I have a laundry list of all the things, Lewis, that you've said that are not true. First of all, I'm not left-wing media. Okay, Bozo? I'm not left-wing media. I voted for the left. I voted for the right. Just because you are critical of Donald Trump doesn't mean you're on the left. That's number one. Number two, you don't gauge how good of a person somebody is just because they're voted as president. You know how ridiculous that is? Let me show you how dumb that comment is. Because someone is voted most popular person in high school, does that make them the best person in the school, you nitwit? No, it doesn't. What are you talking about? Name the most popular person that you went to high school with. You probably hated him. Does that make that person the best person in the school? That shows you how irrational you are with that statement. Now, if you want to give reasons why
nobody likes the guy that got all the ladies.
If you want to make the case that you think Donald Trump is a better person than Hillary, fine. I'll hear you out. I'll listen to you because I'm not a fan of Hillary Clinton either. But to say the only reason why he's a better person is because he was elected is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard doing radio for 20 years in Las Vegas. So congratulations, Lewis. You win that prize. If I have a trophy, I'll give it to you for the dumbest comment ever in radio history. 257-5396, the number to call. 702-257-5396. We are talking about who do you think is a worse person, Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton? And I'm willing to hear both sides of that argument. I'm not a fan of Hillary Clinton by any stretch of the imagination. But, my vote would go towards Donald Trump. It's the only time I'll ever vote for him. He would win that prize. And I've mentioned plenty of reasons why. I'm not going to go into them again. Several obvious reasons. Obvious reasons.
Yes.
Again.
Well, you can do it one more time.
No, I don't need to do it one more
sure?
time. No, you're right. Donald's a great guy. He's a fantastic guy. His Trump University, I wish I went to that school. Sounds like a great university to go to.
Very solid trade school.
He's a great husband. I mean, I've heard he's very faithful to his wife or wives.
But it wouldn't shock me if they didn't have an underlying agreement, though.
I mean, you really think so?
It wouldn't shock me.
It wouldn't shock me if she divorces in the days out of office either, but we'll have to wait and stay tuned
the Sharks, the Sharks are up 2-0, by the way.
Sharks are up 2-0. Well, all right, well, it looks like most likely, and again, that's not a definite. They're in the first period still, right? Certainly not a definite, but not a good start for the Vegas Golden Knights. The number to call again if you want to be a part of the program, 257-5396. Again, 702-257-5396. Let's go to Scott. Scott, thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
What's up, Scott?
Gentlemen, here's a question for you guys. And I only listen to tidbits here and there of your show, but I do enjoy it. When you leave or you guys are off air, do you ever look at each other and go, you know what? I know why Donald Trump won, and you know what's scary is he could win again. I listen to your callers. I've said
that on the air, and I'm going to tell you right now, I think he is going to win in 2020. I'll say that on the air right now. I think he's going to win re-election. I do.
And I don't. I don't think he is.
I'm quite certain he's going to.
Guys, 2 or 3 reasons why he will win again.
I'll give you one. I'm not calling everybody dumb that voted for Donald Trump by any stretch of the imagination, but I would say at least half the people that voted for Donald Trump are complete morons. They're idiots, and they voted for him just because he is a TV personality. They voted for him maybe because of his beautiful orange hair or his skin or whatever. I think and I would say that about both sides. Many people that vote for somebody vote for the wrong reasons. So that's number one. Number two, he is pure entertainment. Okay, he's good for CNN. He's good for MSNBC. He's good for our show. He is good for the media. He boosts ratings. He gets a lot of people involved in politics. He's entertaining, quite frankly. That's number two. And then number three, the conservatives that like some of his policies, the Republicans who like some of his policies, for example, the rich. There is no doubt in my mind that if you are a wealthy individual, you are absolutely positively 100% voting for Donald Trump, whether he sleeps with 20 porn stars in the next year. It doesn't matter because you're going to get tax breaks. That's one policy. And there's other policies, abortion, members of the NRA, if you're a gun lover. There's a lot of other, if you're a staunch Republican, you are going to vote for Donald Trump. So those are 3 solid reasons that I would give why I would say Donald Trump is going to win re-election in 2020. And I know Chris disagrees with me, but I wouldn't vote. I wouldn't bet against Donald Trump.
But can't the Democratic Party come up with somebody to negate that?
Who?
Well, look. See, we're way.
I'll tell you,
it's way too premature for us to start making determinations about the 2020 election.
No, it's not.
Given there's 25,000 people that are running for the Democratic Party, it's going to get boiled down to 2 people. Okay, it's going to be boiled down to a presidential candidate and a vice presidential candidate for the Democrats, and that's when we can start making determinations as to what's going to happen in the 2020 election. We're still almost 2 years outside of that, okay? So all of us making determinations here and saying, oh, yeah, it's a foregone conclusion that the president is going to get reelected is pretty much preposterous, considering that there's so many factors that are still yet to be involved
I wouldn't call it preposterous.
It absolutely is, because you guys are making number determinations about the president and what he's going to get as far as reelection numbers.
So Chris,
the fact of the matter is this. He has lost. He has not gained anything in his base.
Yes,
his base has not grown. There's no JD. You can't present any facts that his base has grown.
Let me give you an example.
There's more people in this country that support Donald Trump than in 2016.
Chris, I was watching Facebook Live. That's where I watched this thing today.
Yes,
and Fox Business had 25,000 viewers. Huffington Post had 2,500. And CNN had 3,000.
Those are media outlets, okay, that we're talking about. We're not talking about the support for Donald Trump as president.
Of liberals and left wingers leverage the internet to do their attacking.
It is a foregone conclusion as of right now, JD, that his base has not grown one iota.
Chris, it has
and in
grown.
fact, it has lost people because of those, particularly with the tax plan that we just talked about.
Because he's done a good job.
He has not paid off. He has not
and he's done
delivered
what he
on
said
the
he was
tax
going
plan.
to do.
Yes,
and
he's delivered on.
And people are recognizing the fact he's being constantly
I understand
attacked.
there has
yet
been
he's getting through this.
deregulation. There has been deregulation in the economy, and it has helped the economy out without question. There have been judges that have been appointed, as Brian brought up 2 minutes ago, that Republicans have been able to do under Donald Trump, so the people who are pro-life are happy, and the people that are Republicans are happy that these judges have been able to put into place. But make no mistake about it, there is a large portion of the people that voted for Donald Trump in 2016 did not get what they were expecting, did not get delivered. There hasn't been. There hasn't been a resurgence.
Let me give my
of
thought
industry
process,
in the
okay?
Midwest. There hasn't been.
Let me give my thought process. Then, JD, I want to hear from you. We let Chris go there for a little bit.
You can
Hold
talk
on,
for days
we got to take a break. But let me just give you my thought process on why I think Trump is going to win in 2020. I look at the candidates that he is facing. Most likely, and again, it's early. I get it. I believe it's going to be either Joe Biden or Bernie Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be one or the other. Okay, Joe Biden, there's a reason why he doesn't win elections. And the reason why he doesn't win elections is because it doesn't resonate with people. And I'm not saying
he was the vice president for 8 years.
He's not
what
a
do you
leader.
mean not win elections? What are you talking about?
He has lost elections. And the reason, yes, he has. Look it up.
Yeah, he lost elections back in the early 2000s, late 90s.
Hold on, that's Joe Biden. Bernie Sanders could be running against him as well. I think Bernie Sanders is way too far to the left.
He's just too left, exactly.
Okay, so
which is why he's not going to be the nominee.
I'll tell you this,
Bernie
man.
Sanders is not going to be the nominee.
A politician is not going to beat Donald Trump. A celebrity might, but that's not going to take place. If you want to beat Trump, you have to play Trump's game. And the only one capable of that maybe is Ocasio-Cortez, and she's just too young to do it.
Joe Biden's not capable of that. You don't
He's
think?
absolutely not capable of that.
He can't go toe to toe
No
with Donald
chance.
Trump when it comes to actual policy.
Well, let me answer that.
And he doesn't have the brand.
Let me answer that. I think it's a very important vice president that he's going to have to look. The reason why John McCain lost the election against Barack Obama is because he had Sarah Palin.
Sarah Palin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm telling you right now, John McCain would have won that election, in my opinion, if he had a better vice president. If Joe Biden picks an African American that is very capable, or perhaps a woman, I do believe he has a chance. I agree with you. But if he hires a boring vice president, okay, that doesn't excite the base, I think Donald Trump will win. And I don't know if that's going to happen or not. That's my thought on that. We got to take a quick break.
And the base is so diluted right now. It's in all kinds of directions.
There's too many people.
There's no set policy. You don't really know what you're trying to accomplish. You just know that you don't like Donald Trump as a human being. That's really it.
Well, I think Bernie Sanders said it best when he said, if we focus on Donald Trump, we're not going to win. And he's right.
They're not going to, though. They're not going to.
And he's right. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. We'll take a few more phone calls when we come back. The number to call, 257-5396. Again, that number to call, 257-5396. We'll take some more of your calls on the other side of the break. Also, the guy who bet on Tiger Woods and won $1.2 million, well, it seems as though some of his story, not exactly true. He's also spent some time behind bars. We'll get to that coming up next. You're listening to The Vegas Take on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN.